The chances that a conjoined twins will survive surgical separation is very slim. Experts place survival rate between 5 to 25%.
A few weeks to a few months to getting to when they were up to 1 year. From the middle picture, can you go back please? From the middle picture, you can see the extent of what, how.
In Nigeria, the journey to separate a conjoined female twins began in November 2019. Doctors say the twins born on August 13, 2019 could not be put under the knife at the time of birth due to some foreseen complications. Separating conjoined twins is a complicated and dangerous procedure, and not all twins because of shared organs or other complications.
These babies were delivered at the Federal Medical Center, Kefi, by cesarean section on the 13th of August 2018. They were referred to the National Hospital the following day, being 14th of August 2018, on account of being co-joined at the chest and the abdomen. They have therefore been on admission at the hospital for over 16 months for care and several diagnostic procedures to make detailed diagnoses that aided the planning for the eventual surgery to separate them.
According to a 2017 paper in the Journal of Clinical Anatomy, conjoined twins are extremely rare, with an incidence of 1 in 50,000 births. However, because around 60% of those cases are stillborn, the actual incidence rate is closer to 1 in 200,000 births, according to the study. About 70% of them are female.
They also shared the lower half of the chest in the front, and then the structure which we call the diaphragm that separates the tummy from the chest, they also had a common diaphragm. Next slide please. The next thing, the imaging people also made us realize was that there was only one liver. Normally each one of us we have one liver, but these twins had just one liver serving the two of them. So we knew that, okay, so this was something that we were going to need to separate. Next slide. And then we needed to be sure about their intestines. Are they separate or do they have a connection anywhere? Again, the images showed us that there are two separate intestines. You can see one of the babies on the right side, separate intestine is not connecting to the opposite side, same thing on the other side.
Aside from being joined at the chest, the Martins twins were born with a condition known as omphalocele, a birth defect that left a section of their intestine sticking outside their navel.
This was how the twins were when they came to us. If you see the picture on the right side, one of the first challenges we faced was that they came to us with their intestine popping out from the lower part of the tummy. And that on its own is a big problem to sort out. We were able to quickly resolve that. Next slide, please. Our nurses, especially the nurses in the neonatal unit, did excellent job. And you can see from the picture on the extreme right that the area where intestine was popping out had healed very nicely over about 3 weeks. Next slide, please. So the next task was for us to be sure of what structures and organs they share, because we needed to make a determination whether they could live independent lives if they are separated.
Omphalocele is a birth defect of the abdominal wall. The infant's intestines, liver, or other organs stick outside of their belly through the belly button. The organs are covered in a thin, nearly transparent sac that hardly ever is open or broken. As the baby develops during week 6 through week 10 in pregnancy, the intestines get longer and push out from the belly into the umbilical cord. By the 11th week of pregnancy, the intestines normally go back into the belly. If this does not happen, an omphalocele occurs. The omphalocele can be small, with only some of the intestines outside the belly, or it can be large with many organs outside the belly. Because some or all the abdominal organs are outside the body, babies born with an omphalocele can have other problems. The abdominal cavity, the space in the body that holds these organs, might not grow to its normal size. Also, infection is a concern, especially if the sac around the organs is broken. Sometimes an organ might become pinched or twisted, and loss of blood flow might damage the organ.
From having the opportunity to enjoy their full lives and potentials independently.
According to the parents of the conjoined twins, the girls underwent surgery to repair the area that had been torn open at the navel, and doctors had to wait for many weeks for them to recover from the procedure. A number of complications were also staring them in the face in the months leading up to the separation in November 2019. But the risk of being infected once they were separated crept in.
We had to mobilize adjacent skin and tissue and generated more skin and tissue to close the wound. We therefore inserted tissue expanders, which we gradually inflated over time. And by the time of the surgery, we had barely enough skin and tissue to cover the exposed heart and other vital structures without tension, which would have led to increased intra-abdominal pressure with consequent catastrophe. We thank God for granting us success.
The successful outcome of this surgery is thanks to the availability of top experts at National Hospital Abuja, thanks to their dedication to the profession, and thanks to careful planning, the excellent teamwork, and the administrative support they received. These beautiful girls of Benue State origin, who are aptly named Goodness and Mercy, has demonstrated that our health system, even with modest resources, can rise up to the highest challenges and offer quality care to find its position among renowned international hospitals. Of highly trained and committed personnel who have shown not only that their individual expertise in medicine is strong, but also they have demonstrated extraordinary ability for seamless teamwork that made this intricate level of advanced surgery possible. I urge all hospitals in Nigeria to also aim higher and emulate this team. The government shall continue to invest in people and strengthen institutions and systems, and in this case, strengthen tertiary hospitals and our entire health system. Good News and Mercy came to Abuja joined as one, but they are now ready to return home as two individuals.
Doctors later found out that the twins shared a diaphragm, while one liver served both of them, but all other organs were separate.
As human beings, we don't need the whole liver. When we do liver transplant, we don't transplant the entire liver. We just take a small bit of it. Yes. So every human being can survive with 1/3 of the liver. But for them, the size of the liver that was there really was actually the size of two livers joined together. Okay. In terms of separating it, we had very advanced equipment that helped us to separate it very quickly without losing much blood. So that didn't pose so much difficulty for us. The diaphragm, again, is one of the things we do frequently in our work as pediatric surgeons. There are some babies that are born with holes in their diaphragm and we have to close them. So it wasn't, again, a difficult thing to separate the diaphragm into two, and then the cardiac surgeons were able to fix them back to make sure that the tummy and the chest are separated from each other.
After a series of procedures, a 78-member team of doctors at the National Hospital Abuja perform a major surgery to separate the conjoined twins from the chest and lower abdomen. The successful separation of Goodness and Mercy, who were brought into the National Hospital 16 months ago, is one major breakthrough in Nigeria's medical history.
You can see that the team included doctors, nurses, pharmacists, laboratory people, other support staff, and we all worked very well together, including spending long nights after the surgery together in the ICU to take care of them. So I think that's one other very big lesson. Working together, we can achieve a lot. And the other thing is, I think we need our people to have faith and trust in our system. I know it's tough, considering all the things that we hear about our healthcare system, but a lot of good work is going on. A lot of good things are happening, and I think if our people put their trust and faith in us, there's so much we can achieve.
They were united in one purpose, and they supported what the management wanted. At a point, I demanded that the surgery should be postponed for 1 month. Because they came to brief me and said, postpone it for 1 month. Because some people were supposed to go on leave after the surgery. I said, no, when you return from your leave, we will start. Because I don't want you away while these children are trying to recover. So for that purpose, they followed my instructions, and I supported them wholeheartedly. And once the people in question returned from leave, they settled down. They knew I would not accept any other postponement. So everything that was required, they worked as a team, set up a WhatsApp group through which we communicated. I was a member of that group, and if I noticed anything, I quickly used my executive power to intervene. So, like you said, you heard, the parents believed in us because of the way we took care of them in the first few weeks. Without even talking about separation, we took care of the feeding, we took care of the care, the drugs, everything of these children when they couldn't afford it. And we continually reassured them. So the teamwork is something to be emulated. And for those who believe that the health sector can never be united, I believe that when we are busy, when we have a purpose, a common purpose that we are pursuing, we are always united. We work as a team. In this hospital, we have another program called the Cardiothoracic Open Heart Surgery Program. We also have a team for our Open Heart Surgery Program. And you see people across all professions working together, staying day and night to take care of, children that have been operated. So it has taught me a lesson that there is unity. We only need to discuss more.
The Minister of Health sees the successful separation of these twins as a restoration of confidence in the health sector.
The teamwork that was involved here, you can see that there were so many different groups, and all of them had work to do and working seamlessly together. But we are also proponents of super specialty hospitals. Hospitals that will handle transplant, handle cancer, or handle head and neck surgery, orthopedic, and so on. So we're looking into that, looking at feasibility for super specialty hospitals, and also to be able to train people accordingly for the areas and send them for refresher training. So we encourage state governments to develop the secondary level care, which are small 40, 50 bed hospitals that take care of medium level surgeries, so that places like this are reserved for specialties.
Statistics reveal that conjoined twins occur in every 50 to 60,000 births globally, and about half of this number die before their first birthday. This perhaps explains the feelings of the parents of these successfully separated conjoined twins and the medical team.
A joyful day for the Nigerian health sector, as we are all working towards ensuring the achievement of the universal health coverage for all. With this type of medical intervention done here in Nigeria.
The lead surgeon, Professor Emmanuel Ame, leads us into the journey to the successful separation of the conjoined twins. He admits it was a very big challenge for the team of surgeons.
Goodness and Mercy, they were born on the 13th of August, 2018, in the Federal Medical Center in Kefi by cesarean section. and they were referred to us the following day. So when we saw them, they were just 1 day old. And they came to us. Their weight was below what it should be, and they had a swelling in the area of their navel where they were joined that was not covered by skin, and part of their intestine was popping out of there. So that was the first challenge that we faced. But our neonatologists and the neonatal nurses did an excellent job in looking after them, because at that first few days of life, and they were very delicate, they needed to be kept warm, they needed to be fed well. Infection was going to be a problem, but the neonatal unit were able to handle that properly. And the first surgery that needed to happen, which was done by the bedside, was to close the area that the intestine was popping out. We were able to achieve that relatively easily, but then we needed to keep dressing it to make sure that skin heals to cover it. That happened over several weeks. Their feeding was really very critical, because their mother had just had a cesarean section. She wasn't even producing enough breast milk that will take care of the two of them. So our nutritionists, along with the neonatologists and the neonatal nurses, had to sort that out. But they gained weight rapidly and remained in the neonatal unit for about 9 months. So after we evaluated them with all the images that the radiologists had done, we determined exactly what they were sharing, and we then need to begin to plan what will be the next stage. And our plastic surgeons determined that, given the extent of joining, when we separate them, we are going to leave a very big gap, and there was not going to be enough skin to be able to close the gap that will be left. So their decision was that we should put what we call tissue expanders. They are balloons that we put under the skin, and we inflate them gradually over several weeks so that it distends the skin and expands the skin so that we can have more skin to use to cover. So we were able to achieve that, and once we completed that, we then started planning the main part of the surgery, which took place on the 14th of November 2019. As at the time of the main surgery, they were 15 months old.
Professor May is confident of the country's medical sector and the human resource. According to him, the future is very bright, as lots of advanced surgeries have been performed at the National Hospital Abuja, including open heart surgery.
I think the biggest challenges are, one, limitations in the equipment that we have. Many times the equipment may be old and outdated, or they may not even be available. Even we have well-trained and experienced staff, but you see, it's not about training alone. You need to have what to work with. And I think that's one of the things that worked for us. We had what we needed to work with. So I think if our hospitals have the right equipment and the right maintenance, it's not enough to have the equipment. You need to be able to maintain it and replace them from time to time. If that is able to happen, I think the future is bright. We in the pediatric surgery, we do complex cancer surgeries, complex surgeries to correct birth defects. But those are all things that don't get publicized. But a lot of work is going on that if we have the right equipment and the right support, we can do a lot more. But we need the public to trust us. I agree with you. Trust has been lost over a long time, and a lot needs to be done to build that trust and confidence in our system.
He re-echoes the need for the government to improve its spending for the health sector, but calls for a stronger public-private partnership.
The government for a long time has had the concept of public-private partnership. And an example of where it has worked very well is Gaki Hospital. They do a lot there and at a comparable cost. So I think that if government works with the private sector, one of the things that the private sector has that public service doesn't have is the fact that the maintenance culture is there, the discipline is there, the right attitude is there. So if we can leverage all this to the public sector, I think that will significantly help to improve our healthcare system. Many of the hospitals that our people go to outside the country, all the hospitals that people go to in India, they are private hospitals. They are really not government hospitals. Actually, our government hospitals are better than the government hospitals in many of the countries that people are going to. So I think we just need to do a little bit more to strengthen what we have.
Dr. Kayode Valentine is a consultant pediatrician and neonatologist based in Lagos. He welcomes the current success, but points out the need for a more vibrant medical sector in the country.
What made this case special was that all the team were purely Nigerians. What we've been having, people have been bringing in experts from abroad to join the team, but this team were purely Nigerians, and that's actually standing out. But I also said, even in Zaria 1978, they had conjoined twins, that like 2 or 3 series. 1 or 2 was not successful, 1 was successful. One of them is a midwife now in Zaria. She works somewhere in the north, and she was a conjoined twin. They lost the second team, and that was successful. So look at 1978, 2020. What happened? We were sleeping because we were not using our resources. We need to apply our resources properly. When people were talking about surplus doctors theory, surplus doctor theory is meaning that there are doctors that are not doing anything because they can't get a job. Some doctors have graduated from school, finished medical school, cannot even get out job in 18 months, in 2 years. Some of them have to go and write their exams. And you say you have doctors, you cannot apply them to use. So there must be application of resources that we have. Government must step in to actually be able to apply what we have. We have resources, human resources, to be able to use them properly. They must also be able to provide financial backup. Then people too must understand that they have what they need to actually succeed. There are studies that cannot be done in Nigeria, we know. When it's time for referral, we refer. But most cases of people having hypertension, ear pain, headache, and they say they are going abroad for even people go to deliver abroad, maybe because they want to become citizens. And let me remind you that even nowadays now, those places that people go to, if you are not NHS registered, you will pay more.
For him, the budget allocation to the health sector is way below the required.
These parents are the luckiest in this time of the decade. They are lucky because as at the last budget of 2020 that was read, the allocation for health is 4.14% of the budget. And the capital expenditure to be spent in terms of doing things for people, paying for your health, if you calculate it, about 2,000 naira per person. So the parents actually owe the government 4,000 naira. These two twins called conjoined twins, they also owe them that's 8,000 naira. This surgery costs thousands of dollars. So these parents are lucky in that they have human resources, the doctors and the medical team, and also we're able to get financial backup. In Nigeria, we have a problem. The problem we have in Nigeria is a problem of pride. Sometimes there are a lot of things that we can do in Nigeria. People want to because they want to prove that they have money, they want to actually show that they can travel abroad. People go to abroad to go and treat headache, ear pain, things that you can manage in Nigeria. This surgery that we're talking about, so many countries have done it and they had failures. It is important that Nigeria understand that we have human resources. There are human resources that can do this thing, but the problem is managerial, providing funds. For example, if the doctor were not committed, they would just refer them that they should go abroad. But these doctors are telling us the story. And the story is Nigeria can do a lot more than this. In fact, there are so many surgeries that have been done in Nigeria besides conjoined twins. People are doing heart transplants. But what made this case special was that all the team were purely Nigerians. These things are available in Nigeria. What we need to apply is providing funds, environmental stability, and people's mindset need to understand that we have resources, and the government must actually try and improve our NHIS coverage. The same thing with our budget. Our budget has to be increased. Abuja benchmark declaration said that X sector should receive 15% of the budget, but that's 2001. Up till now, the health sector is receiving less than 5%. That means we are not ready.